I'm talking about what matters in life. And the question, which I wish we stuck with this line of inquiry, Destiny said, well, yeah, men don't like working because what they really like is the freedom that working provides. I said, well, the freedom to do what? He said, well, the freedom to pursue hobbies with friends and blah, blah, blah. And that's the choice. It's between the autonomy that working provides or the money provides versus the obligations of family. And here's the thing. And I said, if it was just hobbies, if it was just surfing and cards and StarCraft and all that, like I would kill myself. Here's why. I didn't always feel this way. I didn't actually always feel very strongly about this, but I went to college and I thought about like what my life would look like, what I would have for store in my life. And this is what we can all say for certain about our life to some extent. Either we will die early, or if we live a long life, we're going to see both of our parents die, which is going to be brutal. And what's that going to look like when you're living with no parents? It's going to be miserable. You're going to see most of your friends die. You're going to see your closest friends die young, some of them, or you'll see them die old. You will peak mentally and physically, and then every day after will be mentally and physically degraded. Henceforth after that, sometime in your 20s and 30s, you'll get sick, you'll get achy, you'll have pains, you'll wake up and be in pain. You'll be ugly, you'll be unattractive. If you're a man, women won't look at you. If you're a woman, men won't look at you. That is what your life looks like. And so when people say, well, I'm living for the freedom to do these hobbies and things, that's why I say on a rational calculation, if I'm looking at a life where my parents die, my friends die, I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get achy, I'm going to mentally and physically peak, I'm probably killing myself at 30. Because you know what? Getting a little bit of money and maybe getting a boat or going on vacation, it doesn't outweigh all the bad things. And that's fundamentally, I think, the difference between me and Destiny is I believe that life is suffering. We're not here to have a good time. It's not a big fucking theme park. We're here in this fallen world where there's work, where there's toil, there's birth pain. That's what the Bible says is the woman's penance for the original sin. There's birthing pain, and we have to die a hard death. Our soul is ripped from our body and we face a judgment. God. We can either accept that reality and live within it, within our physical and spiritual means. We can make decisions and enjoy the good things in the world, which is love, which comes through family and children. Or we can ignore all that and pretend like we're going to live forever and do OnlyFans and fuck around and go and have a good time and make money and fly around the world and pretend we're never going to die, but we are. And that, I think, is the fundamental difference. And I didn't say that I would kill myself at 30 if I don't have a family. I said if there was nothing more to life other than amusements and hobbies and frivolities or even things like career, I would kill myself because the value proposition of life wouldn't be enough. I said there has to be more than that, which for me is God. For me, it's the things that proceed from God. And as far as what you say about career and profession, and we feel very good about ourselves, honestly, I think we feel good about ourselves because it feels good to do honest work. It feels good to build things. When all is said and done, we are going to be here, and as quickly as we came, we are going to be gone. And as quickly as this earth came into existence, it will be gone. It's a pile of beans.
From dust we will return.
That's right.
In the Bible, bitch.
And so for me, the things that truly matter, the things that I'm proud about are the moral decisions that I've made. The reason I'm proud of AFPAC or America First or my movement is because I told the truth. It's because I converted people to Catholicism, which has an objective moral weight. If I was a streamer and I was just making content about like, hey, let's do movie reviews or something, would I say that it's worth living to watch movies? Would I say it's worth living to, it's sort of like, it reminds me of the story about the concentration camp where they say they have us pick up a bag of rocks and move it to the other side of the camp and then fight. And, it's Sisyphus. I think that life is Sisyphean without a meaning behind the suffering, without anything transcendent. I think that's what you lack. Where is the transcendence? Where is the objective meaning? There is none.
Yeah, and hold on, Destiny.
Listen, the Quran really says that that we're put here to worship God. We're here as God's slaves. And then you think about what God would want us to do is to do the right thing.
But having a family is also at the top. I mean, outside of worshiping God, the next thing is having a family.
Right.
So, right?
That's how you make God happy.
Yeah. So whether you're an atheist or you're religious, etc., it seems to me that procreating is at the top of the totem pole. If you're an atheist, it's procreating. If you are religious, it's God, then procreating, which is right there, right? So with that said, creating life, what makes a man's chances increase to procreate? I'll answer it. Acquiring status, resources, being attractive. Fair? Can we all agree on that?
Trinity. No, data-wise, you're just wrong.
What?
Like, poor men have more kids than wealthy men. You're just wrong. I know you say I'm a contrarian, but like you can Google the numbers right now. You're just wrong.
No. The best in the village.
I didn't say what is actually going to lead to. I said what increases your chances.
How can it increase your chance if it doesn't actually do it? Or what is that? What do you base it
It
on?
would be the highest level of trinity of status, network, and looks in the fucking village. Like Melina chose you from all the fucking nerds. She chose you because you have the most network, looks, and fucking status. You dumb fucking
If there's a
liberal
guy, thank you for
bitch.
saying I'm so hot. If there's a guy that's pursuing that trinity of things, and another guy's just trying to fucking have as many kids as possible, the guy that's fucking have as many kids as possible is always going to have more kids than the wealthy.
But remember, again, this goes back to creating life and increasing your likelihood of mating. As a man, acquiring status, resources, competence, etc., is going to secure your ability at a higher likelihood of getting a better mate, being able to stay with that mate long term, and most importantly, getting more than just one woman because men want quantity. Right? Acquiring status, resources
I understand.
is
It's like a
important
good
for increasing your chances of finding a mate.
Well, in the Old Testament, man used to have multiple wives, but now, no. That's one. Only one.
Sure, it's a fun theory, but number-wise, none of that exists in reality. Poor men have more baby mamas. Poor men have more children. Poor men have a higher likelihood of passing their genes on. Isn't this just the point of like idiocracy of the movie? Like,
how can you not understand? Most people are poor or average. Rich people are only a small percentage. That's why. How the fuck can you not understand? How can you say poor people have more babies? Yes, because there's much more poor people than rich people.
Cannot sustain and maintain a.
They don't need to sustain and maintain.
Oh, Destiny, which of the poor? The highest status.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish my point here, okay? Because it still doesn't change the fact that it increases a man's likelihood of mating, acquiring these things, which is why, right? Men get a natural benefit and happiness because you mentioned before, you guys built up this podcast. It makes you feel good. The reason why men chase resources and status is because that leads to respect, that leads to fulfillment, because men are fulfilled when they create something. That's why men are builders. That's why men are overwhelmingly inventors. They create the infrastructure, etc. Men are fulfilled from creating things. Women, however, are fulfilled from creating children. That's why women, right? Women don't get the same satisfaction from building something. They don't get the same satisfaction from career, earning income, etc. They get more satisfaction from having children. Even the women on the panel, successful hairdressing salon, etc., they pick their kids. Why? They pick their kids because they know that my duty as a woman is to be attractive so I can find the highest status man that I can and have children with that man. So what I'm saying is that women get their benefit from biological sense. They get their fulfillment from having a family. If they want to have a career, that's cool, but it's never going to fulfill them to the same extent that it will for a man, because when a man is fulfilled with a career, his mating options increase. When a woman is fulfilled by being attractive and having a man, she's successfully done her mating strategy. Because men and women are different. Women want quality, so how do I get quality? I be attractive, keep myself young and fertile, get that man, bam, I secured his resources, I won, I have children with that man, I'm in a relationship, man wins, I have resource, I have status, I have this woman, but if I want to, I can spread my seed to other women because I have the ability to have quantity.
Why don't any of them do it?
Perfect.
What was that?
What wealthy men don't go out and have a ton of kids, though? It like defeats your entire argument. If men are only pursuing these things because it gives them the option to procreate more,
They fuck a bunch of other women.
but they don't, and they don't have a
Yes,
lot of
they do.
kids. They literally don't. Higher body counts are on poor people. Like everybody
talking
knows
about
this.
today? Are you talking about today?
Today, yes.
Yeah, because there's birth control. We have contraception and birth control, so men don't have to deal with the consequence of impregnating women.
Yeah, but even wealthier men
Unfortunately.
don't have higher sexual partner count. There's no study, there's no research you could pull. Like, we're totally off the facts at this point. Like I said, like it's like Nick's story. These are nice stories, but they don't
See, Destiny is so out of reality, delusional, or I don't know, maybe he acts this stupid on purpose for his audience.
map onto reality. They're just stories. If you look at the data, wealthy men aren't out here having sex with all these women. They're definitely not procreating with all these women. And if they wanted to, they could tell them to get a birth
But
control.
Destiny, common sense. Common sense
Common sense
Wait,
is if you ask who has more
hang on,
kids,
hang
it's
on.
gonna be poor people.
Mapping on a reality, maps a meaning over here. If I am like a multi-millionaire and I'm standing next to some homeless bum, who is going to have a higher chance of mating with a woman?
The homeless
It's not,
man.
it's about who's choosing to.
Exactly. We're talking about chance, not choice.
But you're saying you pursue the chance in order to exercise the chance.
We're saying very simply, it's very simple. I know it's hard to understand. When there's no source, where's the source that says that hot,
I do
tall
like that you
chads
fall
with
back
lots
on
of
emotion
money?
over fact because you
It's
can't
not,
win
it's
the
not
data
about
argument.
emotion. It's
It
just
is. It's
common
an
sense.
emotional argument.
It's just
I
common
can't argue
sense.
against the
Everybody
emotionalism.
watching can perfectly understand what
Really,
we're
they
talking
think that
about.
wealthy people have more children than
Wealthy
people.
people,
That's what everybody
women
understands.
are more accessible to wealthy people.
Wait a minute,
Then why do poor people have so many more children?
Because it's a different
Well,
lifestyle.
you think right now? I'm curious. And the wealthier countries in the world versus the
When
poor
you're talking
countries
about
in the
the poor
world,
people,
who's having more children?
Africa.
Really, but they're all
It's
poor.
RK
Why?
selection.
Why?
It's
First
arcade
of all, it's not
selection. Very
arcade selection.
simple.
That has to do with investment in
It
offspring. That's not
absolutely
even
is.
true.
Yes,
No.
it is. Yep, it
It's
is. You can
not.
look up. There's a debate about it on YouTube. But
There's not a
that's
debate about it.
besides the
There
point.
are selected species and case-selected
It's
species.
very simple.
But it has nothing to do with the conversation right now.
If I'm rich versus a poor person, who has a higher chance of going to a bar and pulling a girl and taking her home?
Well, based on the data, it seems like the poor person that's spending all this time fucking does.
Okay, that's all I wanted was that
That's
answer.
great. And then we
based
look up-
on the data, the poor person.
Well, is
Okay.
data gay
Case
when it backs
closed.
me up, Nick?
It's
Mr.
gay when it's
Captain Virgin
retarded.
at 26?
It's gay
You
when
hate
it's
the data
retarded.
now?
Everyone
I'm
raise
sorry,
your hand if you think
well,
the
I know that
person has a
upsets you.
higher
I'm sorry.
chance of
I can only
pulling a
go by the
woman.
numbers. That's all I can
But
read.
that's,
literally
you also have to admit that what we're talking about, there's no way to conclusively conduct a study on that level where you're comparing wealthy men who keep their sex life secret for obvious reasons versus a regular dude and or a lower socioeconomic male. Like you can't, that study would never pass any type of ethical
Wait,
guidelines.
hold on. You literally can check who has more children. You
Bro,
can
you
break it down by
fuck
income.
40 Discord girls a month, but when you were a carpet cleaner, you barely had one. You had some half midget.
Babies with 40 different women.
That's
What are you talking about?
40 different guys.
That's not a good assessment to use that people are having sex, because you got to remember in 2023, guys that have money are more likely to pay for an abortion, use contraception, give a girl a plan B. They're less likely to actually go through the process of having the child.
Yeah, but then why would we acquire all the status if it's not to have children then? I thought that was the whole point.
No, you're right. But men want the sexual options. Men are more interested in the sexual act. That's what I'm talking about.
So Destiny has a point here. Optimal performance will indicate that, for example, you need money and status, but just to have kids and have like that sex life, you could be a bum. However, it's the intent behind it. So if I intend to have sex with women, that's my intent. That's my focus. So by default, I'm gonna have more options and more girls.
Fresh.
But higher quality women will respect a man that has worked on himself and becomes successful.
Wait a minute, Fresh and Nick, are you saying the homeless man that smells like fucking dog piss is not fucking my wife? You gotta be kidding me, bro.
The whole reason I even went through that display is to show that men derive fulfillment from success and acquiring status and resources, which increases their likelihood of going up in the sexual marketplace. Women get fulfillment from having a child and family with a man they love, admire, and respect, and securing his commitment. We are very different in our sexual strategies. That's what I'm saying. Men and women derive fulfillment from different things. Can a woman derive fulfillment from a career? Of course, but a majority of women will not.
I understand what you're saying, but I can only repeat it so many times. Like, none of the data agrees with you. There's a reason why the world has changed the way it is, but like, we're just going back and forth.
No. Since the 1970s, female lack of happiness has gone up.
How are you guys going to decry studies I use and then try to appeal to one of the most difficult to study social phenomenon of like happiness and satisfaction? Like, if you want to study happiness and satisfaction, every single first world country dramatically outpaces every single third world country where they're having more kids, where they live a more fundamental life, where they don't have birth control of cell phones. But like, studying happiness is one of the most difficult social phenomenon to study.
But since
now you're going to appeal to those studies.
Females' life approval ratings have gone down. And what has also occurred during those same decades, I know correlation is a causation, but feminism got stronger since the 70s, and women's happiness rates have went down alongside it. So as the antidepressant medication subscriptions, they've went up. So, I mean, we could sit here and say women are happier now than ever before, but I would respectfully disagree and say that women are less happy than they've ever been because they've been lied to about what actually makes them happy. They're being falsely told, chase a career, make money, acquire resources, basically live like a man, and you'll be happy. And what do we have? We have a lot of sad women out there that aren't having the same high approval ratings with life, even though they're the most educated and they make the most money they've ever had.
Sure. I mean, like, we can, I don't want to go back and forth all night, but like, I said my piece,
Okay, fair enough.
Just out of curiosity,
Sure.
I was wondering if you value your career over your family.
Here's the thing. I understand, like, obviously family is always going to come first, but the difference between me and a woman is that there is no, I must be excellent to have the family.
Yeah.
In other words, I can't leave the workforce for my family, but my wife can. Does that make sense? Like, my family staying intact and being on point is contingent upon my competency and my excellence. The family's success is not contingent upon my woman's success and competency. That's the difference.
Unless he decides.
That is why it's so important for the man to be the leader. That is why it's so important for men to pursue excellence. That is why it's so important for the man to take on the reins and be the main breadwinner. If the woman wants to work, fantastic. I think women should work electively. Men must work mandatorily.
Can I ask you a question? Would you ever be a stay-at-home dad?
Absolutely not.
Okay, but
because yes.
And there's a bunch of biological reasons for that. Women don't respect men that don't provide security and provisioning and a bunch of other things. And me being a stay-at-home father, I've effectively feminized myself. Like if I could, like realistically speaking, if women weren't the way that they were, it might work. But women are very cutthroat when they're with a man that they feel that they are better than.
It's just like
they will lose respect for you. They will start to emasculate you. They'll start talking shit to you. They won't want to be with you, and they want to feel like they're with a man that could protect and provide for them, no matter how much money they make. If I meet a woman and she makes $1 million a year and she took care of her own security, she's still gonna want me to make at least $1 million a year. Women are very greedy and selfish with their resources. They don't like to share with men. However, men are happy to share their resources with women. That's why the man must always be in a leadership breadwinner role. When a woman makes more money than her man, the studies show this. The divorce rates go up precipitously.
okay.
Women are terrible people when they have leverage. No offense.
Earlier when we had asked all the girls, what you or what's more important to you, family or career, it was to prove a specific point. Except for all of the men in this room would, because you guys are godly, right? And Quran and Bible
In some
come
sense.
first.
Jesus is God.
So you would choose family first as well. So the point being is, women, even though we put family
No.
first,
The man has to choose career first.
oh, so you do choose career.
Well, you
over-
choose
If I don't
career
have the
first to
career, I
provide
can't
for
have
your
the family.
Yeah.
How many
Okay.
men work in law enforcement that go to work when they don't want to work because they have to make the money for the family? How many guys are out on business trips to work to earn for the family? Like men, even though it sounds terrible, as a man, you must put your career first. Of course, you love your family more, but you understand that your career must be put first. You're going to miss Christmas. You're going to miss birthdays. You're going to miss basketball games. Men must make this sacrifice in the pursuit of excellence to maintain their family.
Destiny made the point.
We don't get a choice like women do. Women
What
get a
about-
choice of if they want to pursue excellence and get a career. Men don't.
Destiny made the
Yes.
point.
To the woman, God said, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be your husband, and he will rule over you. So this is the Bible. This is in Genesis, and this is the beginning. And to Adam he said, because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat fruit from it all the days of your life. You will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow, you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return. So you don't have a choice as a man. You have to work, and you have to work hard. As a woman, you have to have children. You have to have a family. That's what fulfills you. That's what brings you happiness other than God. Obviously, God first. Men that do not work hard are miserable. Other than the money, resources, they're miserable because in their day they don't do a lot. They're just lazy. And vice versa. A woman that works a lot, we don't want to see that because you're not built for it. You're built to have a family, to take care of the house, to take care of the family. And that's what fulfills you. That's why career women, even if they're 50 years old and they have millions of dollars, they're sad, okay? Because they come home to an empty house. No family, no children, and they're sad. We're different. We have to follow God, okay? And what God says. If not, you will be miserable.
You can have kids being poor. However, optimal performance is, you know what? I make money for my family. I'm the provider. That works all the time.
Yeah.
But being poor, having kids, what's the point?
Or you know what? We could go 50-50, but let's be honest here. Most women don't want to go 50-50.
Well, there's a lot of single mums out there that don't have the option of 50-50. They still do it on their own, and we get by just fine.
You have to.
So
Yeah, it's not
why
really-
would we not agree to go 50-50? If I'm getting by on my own without a man, and a man came and said, I'm going to
Because you have no choice. You're a single mom.
and I would still be happy.
That's you, but with all due respect, you're 35 years old. Your options in the sexual marketplace aren't like they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you might have to
All right.
concede to that. But a younger woman at her prime is not taking 50-50. Let's keep it 1,000. They're not. They want a guy who's a leader in all aspects. Women typically have to lower their standards as they get older. You have children now. You're 35 years old.
I've always
you're a
wanted
business
to
owner.
work. Always.
That's
I worked
that's
all
fantastic.
through my...
Yeah, okay. So guys, it's incredible how destiny is always delusional. Like, seeing every debate, even from years ago, against Nick, he never won. That's crazy. And he keeps going, keeps being a leftist, delusional cock. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you agree or disagree on something. Leave a like if you want to. Christ is King, and God bless you.